All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday to everyone out there. It is August 4th. We have a damn near full MLB slate to jump into today. We're going to go through each and every game. We'll talk about the games. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games, all my final plays, what I actually roll with myself. If you do want to fade me, those plays will be in the pinned comment, so keep an eye on that. I update that throughout the day, always in by game time. Last night, another losing night. We go 1-2, making this such a treacherous, just gross stretch that we're on right now. So a 1-2 night. The Rangers do clutch up and come through for us, because that could have been an 0-3 night. Another reverse sweep there, dustpan action. But the Rangers do come up for us. They come up clutch for us. The Astros money line, they're barely there. They could have also hit that too, but Yankees pulled it out. And then Mickey Moniak, give me a base, dude. Give me a base. Goes 0 for 4. So yeah, we got some work to do today, guys. Our ride of the day also unfortunately does not come through from user NF here. Cody Bellinger over 1.5 total bases. Had a decent night. Finishes with 1 base. It was a plus money play. I like the spot, but if you guys do want to be the ride of the day, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day. I'll be jumping on board with one person's play in the comments, and you guys get a shout out, win or loss, in the next video. We celebrate it if you get the win, you get the dub. If you lose, you got to face the womp womp. So up to you if you guys do want to enter, but use hashtag ride of the day in the comments. And before we get into this game, guys, or these games, I do want to talk to you guys about Outlier, the best sports betting research tool out there. You can sign up using the link in the description or the pinned comment for your convenience and get a 7-day free trial. If you know that green means good and red means bad, you guys can use Outlier to your advantage. 7 days free. Again, after that, fully transparently, it's $19.99 after that per month, which I still think is well worth it. You hit a couple times with Outlier, it's going to be paying for itself. So make sure to go check it out, guys. If you want to see how it is and how it works, in yesterday's video I do a little walkthrough, and I've done that in the past too, if you do want to see like the actual interface. But it's great on mobile, great on desktop, so go check it out. That link is in the description or the pinned comment. Automatically applies the 7-day free trial. All right, let's jump into game number 1 here, and I'm pretty excited for this series. We have the Cubs taking on Atlanta. The Cubs playing good baseball here. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. They've been scoring a bunch of runs. Going up against Atlanta, who has at least won 5 of the last 6 games. They're on a little bit of like a what's going on here slide before, but they do go ahead and sweep Milwaukee, and they take 2 of 3 against the Angels. On the mound for the Cubs today is going to be Kyle Hendricks. He's got a 3.2 ERA in his last 5. You look at it from a last 3 perspective here. He's got a 3.26 ERA, so he's doing it as of late as well. He's got a 3.5 ERA on the season with a 1.06 whip here. Max Fried on the mound for the Braves. He's got a 2.08 ERA, a 1.08 whip, and as of his last 5 here, pitching well. Got a 1.2 ERA. The team is 3-2 when he does get the start, as I almost knock over the microphone here. But nonetheless, guys, in terms of my lean, my main lean in this game is going to go towards the Braves. Minus 165. I do think that this is the team that's playing better right now. Yes, the Cubs are scoring a bunch of runs, but I want to kind of see that in a more consistent format before we go and take them against one of the better teams in the league. And this Braves team has been playing good baseball, and you look at what Kyle Hendricks has done as of late against the Braves. And when I say as of late, the last couple years, right, he's been absolutely getting shelled by them. 4 innings pitched, 6 earned runs. 3 2/3, 7 earned runs. 4 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. Like, the guy has not had a good track record against this Braves team, whereas Max Fried actually has pitched very well and very consistently against this Chicago team, and they've won the last 3 games that he started against them. So give me the Braves on the money line, and then I also do like the under. I know that I said Kyle Hendricks gets shelled, but he has been pitching well as of late, so 8.5 is also a fair number for this total. I like the Braves and the under in this game. All right, we got Cincinnati taking on Washington here. Cincinnati just coming off of getting that sweep from the Cubs. Actually, I think they won game 1, right? So it kind of feels like a sweep. You still lost the last 3 games of the series, but it's a 4-game series, so forgive me, it wasn't a sweep. But nonetheless, Washington coming off of taking 2 of 3 against Milwaukee, which kind of impressive. I do think that this is a Cincinnati game all day long today. You're looking at minus 190 in terms of odds right now, which is kind of unfortunate. That's a big price tag to be paying. but nonetheless, I do think that they have the better pitcher on the mound as Graham Ashcraft faces off against Patrick Corbin, who Graham Ashcraft has been dealing, guys. He's at a 1.2 ERA in his last 5 starts here. The team's 3-2 when he gets the rock to start games, and he's pitched really well against this Washington team, won this season and even last year. So give me the Reds in this one. -190 is way too much to be paying when it comes to taking this as a final play individually, but I have a two-way way of looking at this, right? I don't even hate Cincinnati on the run line for +100 odds. I kind of like that spot. They're batting lefties really well, which obviously Patrick Corbin pitching for Washington is a lefty. In their last 10 games here, Cincinnati's batting .329 against lefties with an 8.8 runs per 9 average there, which is crazy. Obviously, they do have a couple high-scoring games there, but nothing like that would really sway the data here. They scored 9 runs against LA within the last 10. They scored 9 runs against Chicago and 6 runs against Chicago. It's not like they have a 15-20 run game skewing that data. No, it's actually, weirdly enough, kind of consistent how they're scoring that many runs against lefties here. Even in their last 5, they're batting even better, .345 against lefties. So I like the offense. I like the pitching here. Even the bullpen, you can obviously make the argument that neither one of these bullpens is, all that great. But even the bullpen right now, I do think the guys that are available to pitch are slightly better than what the Nationals have to offer. So this should be a Cincinnati game all day long. If you were to look at it on the money line, it's probably going to be in some sort of a parlay, and we might throw in a parlay today, guys. Let me know in the comments. I think our record is, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're 2-5, so 2 for 7 in our Friday parlays for the last 8 or 9 weeks when we have done them, which is still profitable because we've hit it was like a +450 and a +753. So we're still making money on these Friday parlays. I don't parlay all that much, but they are kind of fun to do. I think it's been 3 weeks since we hit one, so maybe we got to go a little safer. But let me know in the comments if we do want to run with a Friday parlay, because I could see this one being in there. I think that this is a Cincinnati game all day long, and as I say that, I've thought a lot of things all day long for the last couple days, and it hasn't really worked out for us. So, we'll see how this game turns out. But I do think it's a Cincinnati game. Total sitting at 10.5 right now. I think a lot of people are going to be on the over, just given the fact that Cincinnati, has been scoring a decent amount of runs, barring the game yesterday, and Washington, their offense, though it's they've only beat Milwaukee with 4-run games, 5-run games, that type of thing, still has scored a decent amount of runs. They scored 6 against, what was that, in Colorado, and I don't even think that game was in Colorado. They scored 6 runs every game. Their offense has been slightly better than normal, so I'm gonna fade the public and lean to the under, but I don't think that becomes a final play. But I could see why people are kind of thinking, oh, this is gonna be an over game. You have 2 offenses that are playing sort of above average. Cincinnati's playing as if when they were in their sort of hot streak, right? And Washington's playing well in terms of what you'd compare them to a few months back. So I lean the under, kind of fading the public, but I don't hate if someone is on the over today. I do think that this could be an over game. I'm just trusting the pitching from Cincinnati today. All right, guys, this is weird. This may be a trap spot. It's got to be a trap spot. You have the Rays taking on the Tigers, and this Tigers team, though they do have Reese Olson on the mound, who has had some flashes, still not pitching all that well as of late, going up against Zach Littell, who has been pitching fairly decently, obviously not pitching deep into games, in some cases acting as just an opener, right? But also he has a couple 5-inning starts and whatnot on the year, which is interesting there. But right now, Tampa Bay -144, coming off of a loss to the Yankees a couple days ago. I see this and I'm like, -144 for the Tampa Bay Rays going up against the Tigers. I have to be missing something here. I haven't noticed any major lineup, adjustments or anything like that. But yeah, guys, I'm leaning towards Tampa Bay, unless I'm totally missing someone out of the lineup today or something. -144 seems like way too much of a value play on a team that, has the talent to be the best team in the league going up against the Tigers. And it's no disrespect to the Tigers. I don't think these two teams are in the same arena, right? So even though Tampa Bay did lose to the Yankees, they still took 2 of 3 against them. They took 2 of 3 against Houston. I said that I think this Tampa Bay team is starting to work their way back, and now you have a Tigers team in which you should be able to clean up here. So they've also won, I don't know if I said this yet, but they've won 8 of the last 10 games against the Tigers as well, including 4 straight, 3 of those this season, in which they crushed them each game. So give me Tampa Bay on the money line, but it feels like some sort of a trap. So if you guys have any sort of information that I'm just missing on this game, definitely let me know. In terms of the total, looking at 9 runs, I kind of come out 50-50 on this one. In terms of where they've landed to this line in the past here, we're looking at 4 over in their last 10, 4 over, 4 under, and 2 pushes. So I do kind of stick away from this total, but yeah, Tampa Bay money line -144 seems like decent odds to me. All right, next up, we have the Yankees taking on the Astros here. Yankees get the win yesterday, meaning we caught the L. Astros lose that one 4-3. Christian Javier just did not seem himself. Clark Schmidt didn't even pitch like all that great. He pitches 5. I think Javier pitched like 4 1/3 or something like that. But nonetheless, Yankees get the win. Today, we have Luis Severino on the mound for the Yankees, which you might as well call him Fady Severino as of late. Going up against Hunter Brown, who has been decent, has a couple bad starts in his last 5 against teams you wouldn't necessarily think he'd have bad starts against, like Colorado, a couple starts back. But nonetheless, I think you have to lean Houston here just until you see Severino do anything positive, right? His last few starts, in fact, I would say 4 or 3 of his last 5 starts have been pretty much god awful. So I'm going to take a peek at the Astros money line. Do we pull the trigger on that? Not exactly sure. Didn't love what I saw out of them yesterday, but again, in their last 10 games here, they are batting righties well. 257 here, nearly 7 hits per game and nearly 6 runs per 9. That is kind of skewed by a Tampa Bay game, which, they scored a bunch of runs. But nonetheless, you look at Luis Severino, has had decent, I don't want to say success against Houston because they haven't beat the Astros in the last 3 times that he got the start, but he's kept the earned runs down to, 3-2, which is way different than what he's done overall, this season so far. So give me the Astros just because I'm kind of fading Severino. Hopefully their bats can come alive today. In terms of a total, look at 9 runs. Yesterday was a 4-3 game, so a total of 7, right? Now, I trust Hunter Brown is going to pitch okay today, but I think Severino, if he just does what he's been doing, he's going to let up a bunch of runs. So I guess I slightly lean towards the over. Don't know if that becomes a final play. Definitely like the Astros more than I do the over, but I can't really consider an under with Severino getting the rock to start the game. You have your former, or future, I should say. I meant to say you have your future World Series winners here. Kansas City Royals going up against the Phillies today. Phillies obviously huge favorites in this one, but Kansas City has won 6 straight games. They won 7 of their last 10. In fact, they've won 7 of their last 9, if you want to kind of squeeze the sample size to make it even sound better. Today on the bump for Kansas City is Jordan Lyles. Fady Lyles there, just like Severino. Going up against Aaron Nola, who also has not been pitching up to, snuff as of late. I do think that this is just going to be an over spot for me because I can't really get behind, Philly minus 225, and I do think that, to some degree, something has to, not work its way for the Kansas City Royals here. So I do think that this is just going to be an over lean for me. Don't really like a side overall. All right, next up, we have Baltimore taking on the Mets here. Kramer on the mound for Baltimore. The team is 5-0 when he gets the rock to start games in their last 5. He's got a 2.2 ERA, and on the mound for the Mets is Peterson, who honestly has been pitching better than he was earlier in the year. He's got a 2.8 ERA in his last 5 here compared to where he was to start the year. Just overall, his ERA on the season is a 5.92, so maybe he's finding a little something, but he's still allowing plenty of guys on base and just getting out of jams, so I don't want to back him too much here. I am going to lean towards Baltimore. The only thing is that minus 160, minus 165 price tag is a hell of a lot. So maybe if anything, we get a little risky and look at Baltimore minus 1.5 for plus 120 here. They have covered that as favorites in 4 of their last 5 games. So there is something to be said for that. And it's not like they've played Joe Schmo teams, right? They went out there and did it against the Yankees, and they've done it against Toronto in back-to-back series here. So I do like Toronto. I do like Baltimore in this game. I also lean slightly towards the under. The Mets in the last 10 games have gone under 6 times, and the Baltimore Orioles here under in 7 straight games. Now, if we look at these two pitchers, again, they're pitching better than they have on the season, so hopefully that kind of continues into today. I do like the spot for them. It's not like either one of them are batting lefties or righties. Baltimore batting lefties, New York batting righties. I don't think either of them are exceptionally offensive right now, so give me the under ever so slightly, but I think this is going to be a Baltimore spot, especially being at home at the start of a new series. All right, before we get into the Cleveland and Chicago White Sox series, I do want to talk about something that I'm very excited about, guys. We have a free-to-enter NFL Survivor pool. I'm going to put that link in the pinned comment. Free to enter, and the winner at the end of the NFL season is going to get $100 as a prize there, guys. So make sure to check it out. Again, free to enter. All you got to do is sign up on the site that we chose to host it on. Completely free. Takes 2 seconds. And if you don't know what a Survivor pool is, all you have to do is pick a team each week to win in the NFL. You just can't pick the same team twice. So once you use that team, they're gone, okay? So make sure to check it out. That link is in the description. Again, we're going to be doing updates on this as we do football videos and whatnot, but we got a month until the NFL season pretty much. Go join this, free to enter, and you get $100 if you do win. It's double elimination too, which is kind of cool. So you have 2 losses in there at least before you're kicked out for good. But yeah, go check it out, guys. That link is in the pinned comment. Make sure to sign up, and make sure you do put an email in as you sign up here, because that is how I'm going to be able to contact you in order to obviously pay you out if you do, or I should say when you do win the pool at the end of the NFL season, okay? So make sure to check it out, and if it asks for a password, it is GBS23, but the link should already apply the password, FYI, but the password is GBS, Guy Boston Sports, right? GBS23. Go sign up, guys. It's going to be very, very fun to keep tabs on this pool, and yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this Chicago and Cleveland game. I have one lean in this game that I'm fairly confident in here, and it is going to be the under 8.5. On the mound for Cleveland is Logan Allen, who, other than his his most recent 2 starts here against Kansas City, and one was against Chicago, which the White Sox, which kind of does worry me a little bit, he was absolutely dealing, right? Like he has an ERA, he had through 7 innings pitched 4 earned runs against the Royals, which doesn't look all that great. Then he plays Chicago, has 6 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. That's got to blow up the ERA, right? No, in his last 5 starts, still has a 1.8 ERA. So the guy has dealt, and he was dealing prior to, allowing 0 earned runs in 3 straight games before that. The teams weren't that great: Oakland, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City. I admit that. But nonetheless, I do think that him going up against Clevenger today, who also has been pitching fairly well, actually against decent competition. He's the one that pitched against Logan Allen in that last game. That game finished at 9, but I think Logan Allen's going to kind of step up here today. Clevenger's going to keep doing what he did in that most recent start, and we see an under cash. So give me the 8.5. If you had a gun to my head and had me pick a team here, I really don't know what I would give you. Maybe I look at the White Sox plus 1.5, keeping it close, but my main lean in this game is going to be under 8.5, not necessarily looking at a side here. So keep an eye on the pin comp to see if this does become a final play. But yeah, I like the under. I like the pitchers kind of step up in this spot. All right, Red Sox taking on the Jays here. Red Sox, pretty big favorites, minus 155 in this spot. And it makes a lot of sense. You do have Alek Manoah going for the Blue Jays today, and while he actually had a serviceable start against the Angels last time out, we know this guy has just been struggling this season, going up, going down, like really just not being a good pitcher overall, right? So I think this one, as he faces off against James Paxton, who has been pitching well on the season. James Paxton is looking at a 3.3 ERA. He's had a couple bad starts mixed in there, including one of his last 3 starts against the Cubs, in which he kind of got shelled, but none other than that, guys, as of late, the guy has been very consistent. He's going to give you 6+ innings, odds are of maybe 2, or if we're lucky, 1 earned run, right? So I lean towards the Red Sox on the money line. Total sitting at 10.5. I don't know why. I don't really know why. I mean, you look at this Red Sox team, and sure, they've scored a bunch of runs in plenty of games here. Toronto hasn't been scoring that many runs, but they have scored plenty of runs, just like the Red Sox in plenty of games, and neither one of these teams trending in any sort of a direction in terms of, scoring a bunch of runs. I think where this comes from is just the historics here, and even this season alone. So actually, in their last 10 games, right, they're 9-1 to the over this season when they play each other. But in terms of this season alone, they do have, I think it's only 1 under hit, which is that one that was in the last 10. So this season alone, I want to say they're like 6-1 to the over. So maybe that's why that total is so high, but you gotta trust Paxton to go out there and do his thing. The last time he pitched against them, he pitched 7 2/3 and no earned runs. Okay, the guy was dealing with 7 Ks. Go out there and do that again today. Give me the Red Sox and the under. All right, Texas taking on Miami. Texas not heavily favored, minus 140 after sweeping the White Sox here. Miami lose 2 of 3 or 2 of 3 of 4, I believe, against the Phillies here. I know they lost the series, but I think it was they only went 1-3 against the Phillies. They're winning like game number 2 or 3, right? On the mound today is Jordan Montgomery for Texas, obviously making his Texas debut. And for Miami, you have Jesus Luzardo, who has been dealing fairly well. He had a bad start in his last game against Detroit, but other than that, looking really, really good. But I'm going to trust the offenses in this game. I do want to lean Texas slightly on the money line, but I can't trust Jordan Montgomery as far as I can throw him. So I'm actually going to look at the over in this spot. You have Miami. We know what Texas's offense is capable of, right? But you have Miami, who in their last 10 games batting .299 versus lefties, on the season batting over .300 against lefties. So give me the over 8.5 here. If this was at 9 or 9.5, I don't think I'd pull the trigger. So it's not like I'm looking at, oh, this is going to be a double-digit game. No, I do just think that they can get to a 5-4 spot at some point, regardless of who is going to win this game. So again, slightly leaning towards Texas on the money line, but I do like the over if anything in this game. That's probably got the only chance of being a true final play. All right, Milwaukee taking on Pittsburgh. Here you have Milwaukee winning 14-1 yesterday. Mitch Keller may be on the ban list, guys. He has just not been looking all that great as of late, especially on the road here. Quinn Priester gets the rock for Pittsburgh today. The team is 2-1 in his last 3 starts, and I think his only 3 starts on the season. He hasn't looked all that great, okay? Now, the guy doesn't let up all that many hits, but when he does let up hits, these things are getting launched. So it is tough to back him in any way, shape, or form. You have Colin Rea on the mound for Milwaukee, who I don't want to say that, he's trustworthy either. He has been fairly inconsistent, but he's looked okay if you throw out his most recent start. Still with a 3.2 ERA over his last 5. So based on a 14-1 game yesterday, I guess we lean towards Milwaukee. But in terms of a total 9 runs, this Milwaukee team, in terms of what they've been scoring lately, super inconsistent. They've had plenty of 2-3 run games, right? Then Pittsburgh, on the other hand, obviously, they're probably, in terms of, unless they go off, well, their go off as of right now is like 6-7 runs. So I do think that these offenses, neither of which are anything to get excited about, regardless of the pitching. So I'm going to lean towards the under, but I don't think that I like this series all that much, to be completely honest. And I definitely don't like the pitching matchup today. So I lean Milwaukee, maybe even the Pirates on the run line to keep this game somewhat close if I do like the under as well, but I don't think anything becomes a final play here. But if you guys have any plays in this game, go ahead and throw them in the comments just so I can see what you guys are rolling with, because I don't really have any edge that I think that I can identify in this spot right now. All right, before we get into the next game, I do want to talk about the Fade Me merch, and I say that with a big smile on my face, guys, because yesterday was absolutely absurd. But anyways, I'll tell you about that in a second. Head over to fademe.store and pick up some merch, guys. It's one way to support the channel, and it's honestly the best way to support the channel because we're really sinking our teeth into this brand. And what's cool is yesterday we had the whole, rant about how we sucked the day before and blah, 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 right? Yesterday was the highest selling day of Fade Me merch that we've had to date in the last 2 or 3 weeks, however long it's been since the launch. So I cannot thank you guys enough. It's almost like when I'm at my lowest, you guys supported and picked me up, which is something that I'm truly thankful for. So head over there, guys. The quality is great. I love the kind of the washed look. These colors are great and everything like that. We have tons of products coming down the line as well, but make sure to pick up something, guys. You could use the code FADE to save 10%. You know what? Screw it. Use 20 FADE, get 20% off. I gotta give back after yesterday. That was an amazing sort of outburst of support. So if you do consider yourself, a part of this community, watching every day, that type of thing, go pick up a shirt. If you like the quality, I'm sure you will, but you'll know why you ended up buying it, right? To support, and you get a cool shirt out of it. If you don't like the quality, hit me up on Instagram, DM me, anything like that, on Twitter, and we'll figure it out if you don't like it. You know what I mean? We'll be happy. We're happy to make you happy. But guys, I cannot thank you for the support yesterday. We had a bunch of guppies out there ragging on us. We followed up with a 1 and 2 day. Yet somehow, some way, the real ones still shine through. So speaking of the real ones, drop 22 if you're still watching and you're sticking around for this rant, because it just passed the 22-minute mark in the video. But seriously, guys, thank you so damn much. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well, and let's jump into this game here. We got Arizona taking on Minnesota. My main lean here is going to be the under 8.5. The Diamondbacks have done that in 7 straight games. Minnesota's done it in 3 of their last 4. You have 2 pitchers on the mound that I think we can trust in Bailey Ober for Minnesota, and then in Merrill Kelly for the Diamondbacks here. Kelly has got a 2.6 ERA in his last 5 starts here, and Bailey Ober's got a 2.4 ERA in his last 5 starts. I think that this is a decent spot for an under, just given the fact that neither one of these offenses are really cooking. You know what I mean? Both of these pitchers are righties. In their last 5 games here against righties, Arizona's got a 157 average. Yuck. And then the Twins have a 204 average, and if you take their runs per 9 versus righties here, they add up to 5.2. So nothing really going in an offensive perspective here. In terms of a side, I really don't have one. Maybe I trust the home team in this one, but I doubt that becomes a final play. So give me the under 8.5. That's got a chance of being a final play, if I'm being honest. All right, Cardinals taking on the Rockies. I think you gotta lean Cardinals in this spot. Though they've been super inconsistent, they are playing a team that I would consider far worse than them. And I'm gonna lean towards the under as well. This Cardinals team, the offense just really hasn't been there in their last 10. They've hit 6 unders in their last 10 as well. And then Colorado, as we know, isn't the offensive juggernaut that, altitude would assume that they would be, right? Those scientists out there. So I'm gonna lean towards the under 9.5 in this game. And it's pretty cool using the outlier app here. Actually, I'll just show it on the screen here. Using the outlier, you can see that the public is actually on the over. 69% of the public is on the over, right? So, you know, percent of bets, meaning the Joe Schmoes and the Sharps all count as one. You put $1 in a game, someone puts $100,000 in a game, it counts as 2 bets on the game. Whereas the percent of money actually takes into account how much money is on what side, so kind of leans towards obviously where the sharp bettors are. It could be an idiot with an unlimited bankroll that sways it, right? But more often than not, this is what's called the sharp money, and you can see that 60% of the money is actually on the under. So we're following the money in this case, and I do think that is a good spot and a good time to do so, because these are two offenses that have been inconsistent. So you might look at this and be like, oh, well, you know, they could score a bunch of runs. Sure, like, yeah, who could? Like, you could just say that without any sort of analytics. But you look at what these two teams have been trending in sort of the direction that they're trending in. I don't even care who's pitching. It happens to be Wainwright, and then on the mound for Colorado is Flexen. These two guys give up a bunch of runs, but I don't think the offenses are going to be able to hit them just because the offense has been struggling. So give me the under here. We're following the money in this one. All right, we got the Angels taking on Seattle. This definitely has a strong chance of being a final play because I really like Seattle in this spot. Seattle has won 6 of their last 5 games. The Angels coming off of not exactly what you consider being the best of their last 3 here. They've lost 3 straight. Seattle wins yesterday 5-3, and I like that they have Luis Castillo on the mound going up against Reed Dietmers as well. In terms of how these two teams are batting those sides as of late, Seattle batting lefties, right? So Dietmers is a lefty. They're batting .316 against lefties right now, 10.4 runs per 9, which you gotta love. And again, like when I look at this and I say, okay, you know, sometimes there's this big outlier or anything like that, right? That isn't the case. They've just been consistently scoring a lot of runs in their last 5 here against lefties, whereas the Angels have struggled. Last 5 against lefties here, only averaging 3.5 runs per game with a 226 average here. So give me the Mariners in this spot. I like the pitching here, and in terms of where the bullpen is too, this bullpen has been crushing it. A 1.99 ERA and a .93 WHIP in their last 3 appearances as a bullpen unit, right? So give me the Mariners for some you know, decent odds, -120. In terms of the total, 8. I guess I think that, you know, Castillo and the bullpen is going to shut down this Angels team, so I lean towards the under, but really I think we got enough juice going on this game. How pumped I am about the Mariners. It's probably going to be a final play. They have the better pitcher in this spot. They're hitting the side of the pitcher better of the opposing pitcher, right? And the bullpen is miles better than what this Angels team has to offer. And then in terms of, like I said, the total, it isn't really something I feel strongly about, but I do think that this is going to be a one-sided affair, which would kind of make me lean towards the under. And last game on the slate, we have the Padres hosting the Dodgers. Obviously, we love this rivalry here. I will say, I don't know if I have the biggest of leans on anything in this spot here. I think from a perspective of what could be a final play, I like the under. 7 of the last 10 that these two teams have played against one another, they've hit the under there. So maybe that is where I'm looking at. But the Dodgers have been crushing 8.5 overs as of late. They've hit that 9 of the last 10. So makes it a little worrisome. But these two teams together, like when you have sort of two teams that butt heads a lot and that type of thing, obviously you're going to look at them and be like, oh, they take this more seriously. It turns into more of like a playoff type format, less runs, that type of thing. So I do lean towards the under. In terms of a side, I wanted to lean Dodgers, but you can't really, tip your nose off at what Yu Darvish has done in the past against the Dodgers as well. So Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres here, and then on the mound for the Dodgers, Bobby Miller, who has been inconsistent as of late. Some good games, some bad games. Doesn't really strike out all that many guys. So I think I'm going to lean towards the under and call it a day with this game because I wanted to find reasons as to why I should make this a Dodgers play, which the Dodgers have been batting, righties better on the season, but as of late, they're average. They're not hitting for average right now, and the Padres absolutely are. 295 against righties. So I couldn't really find a way to secure my lean towards the Dodgers. So I'm going to secure my lean there in the under, looking at how these two teams play against one another. That's all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. Again, if you do want to support, come on now, go ahead and buy some merch. We have some $25 tees out there. With that 20% off, you're looking at a damn good price. So go check it out, guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.